So hello everyone, this is the King of Reddit. So in this video we're going to be looking at r/nosleep, where your friend is kidnapped during an Easter egg hunt. So yeah, this is going to be a bit more dark of an episode because it's r/nosleep, which is just the nature of this subreddit. So yeah, it's going to be a pretty dark video. I think it should be pretty interesting though. If you enjoyed, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and without further ado, let's get on to the video. And this first story is called A Conversation with a Stranger on the Bus. Huh? I asked, pulling off one side of my headphones. I like your boots, the man repeated. Oh, thank you. I had a bunch of pairs exactly like 'em for years and years. A good working boot, you know? They definitely are. I use 'em every day on the job. Where's that at? Turner Construction. Ah, yes. You're building that big old thing up East Avenue. Ain't ya? Yes, sir. It's gonna be one of the biggest in the city. So it seems. I used to do construction too, you know. That was way back in the day. I started back when your mama was probably a toddler. Oh yeah? With the company, or freelance, or... My papa had a small construction and carpentry business. He hired me back when I was, maybe 15 or so. That was all the way back in 1962. We built houses, mostly a couple small apartment complexes, nothing as big as what you're working on. Did you like it? Boy, you bet your butt I did. Working all day at was a free gym membership. Ha, plus all the perks that came with it. Perks? He smiled. Can you keep a secret, boy? Yes, sir? You ever play in a construction site as a child? Maybe a little one. Me and my buddies would sneak into houses being built and explore. Maybe break a couple bottles here and there. Yeah, my neighbors and I used to do that when I was a kid. My house was one of the first built in our neighborhood. Then the rest came later. We probably explored every house on the block before they were finished, when they were just wood skeletons. Maybe breaking a couple bottles too, to tell you the truth. Of course you did. Who wouldn't given the opportunity? But that's all the childish stuff. The real perks come later in life, when I was an adult. Oh? Oh yes, boy, imagine this. The year's 1980 with no cell phones in sight. You talk up a pretty girl at the local bar and hit it off. You tell her about your new construction project. She wants to go see it. Uh-huh. Well, you take her there. You and her all alone in a skeleton of a house, as you said. Wouldn't it be a little more private back at your own house? More private, sure. Maybe, but much messier. I paused. How so? Well, you don't just take a girlie down to a construction site at night to get your diddly fiddled with. You take her for, you know? No, I don't know. For the easy disposal, boy. Disposal? You cut the girlie up, or do whatever your preference is. You do whatever you want with her and you pull her under the house. You bury her and your stained clothes under there too. Once the job's done, no one will ever see that stuff again. It's gone. Eventually, a brand new house is sitting on top of your deed. The bus rolled to the stop. Well, this is my stop. He stood, patted my shoulder, and I recoiled. He walked off the bus. The only thing running through my mind was a memory. I was a kid, no older than 6. My friends and I were playing hide and seek. I hid in the crawl space under my front porch, and when I was hiding, I found a pair of boots half buried in the dirt. The exact same type of boots I was wearing then on the bus. The exact same types of boots we found in the crawl spaces of every house in our neighborhood. So yeah, I mean, this is a pretty weird conversation. Sorry if you hear a high-pitched noise in the background. That's just my fan because my fan is weird. Or maybe I'm being broken into or someone in the government is trying to creep me out right now. I truly don't know which. But yeah, this story, I mean, that's pretty creepy. It's probably made up, but yeah, if I had an experience like this, I would probably call 911 on the man because that's pretty creepy having a pair of boots like that just under every house, knowing that there could also be a dead person under there. Okay, now let's move on to the next conversation, which is just as dark. Why I hate Easter. All phobias are irrational, but the one I suffered from throughout my entire childhood and young adulthood took the biscuit. You're scared of rabbits? People always scoffed. The polite ones tried to look understanding, but I could see suppressed laughter in their eyes. I know how ridiculous it sounds, but those big-eared fluffballs everyone else seems to find so adorable really creep me out. I stay well cleared of pet shops and the run up to Easter was as scary as Halloween must be for people scared of witches. I can pinpoint the day it started, too. You see, for many years I was convinced the Easter Bunny ate my best friend. It was Easter Sunday, 1996. I was 8. My family lived in a small traditional village where nothing much happened. Before that day, it had probably never been in the national news at all. Every year, Mr. Anderson, the old man who lived in the manor house, opened up his grounds for the local kids to have an Easter egg hunt. I went along with my best friend since nursery, Emily. We had the sort of intense friendship that it only could form in childhood. When we met new people, we'd tell them we were sisters, and everyone believed us at first. Our parents took us to the hunt. That year was particularly well attended, and by the time we arrived, just 10 minutes after the event started, most of the obvious places had been raided already. The grounds were huge, with several acres covered with trees. Our parents kept calmly reminding us to stay close where they could see us, but they seemed pretty much engrossed in their own conversations. They didn't tell us when we strayed slightly, so we decided to go a bit deeper into trees and find some eggs that had been behind by the other kids. It was a good choice, at least as far as the egg hunt went. We found several small, brightly colored chocolate eggs hidden behind the trees and underneath piles of leaves, and added up to a haul in the tiny baskets we'd been given. "Look," Emily said, excited, pointing up to a tree. "There's a massive one up there." She was right. Above us, nestled on a higher branch, was an egg larger than the others. It even included a mug. "I'll go for it," I said, feeling proud of the look of relief that filled my friend's face. I'd always been the better climber. I fancied the braver one. If the truth be known, I think I just wanted to look cool in front of her. With difficulty and a disregard for safety, that makes me cringe in hindsight. I slowly ascended the tree, reaching out for the egg with one hand and just grasping it. I climbed back down, giddy with victory, and found myself alone. At first, I thought Emily was playing a trick on me, but after searching behind every tree around there and calling her name a couple of times to no avail, I started to get scared. I ran back to my parents, fully expecting her to be there. "Emily's gone," I told my parents. I still remembered the look of concern on her face before she composed herself. "I'm sure she's just gone to the toilet or something, love. What were you doing in those trees anyway?" The rest of the afternoon is a bit of a blur to me, but I do remember the creepy sense of dread as the minutes ticked by. I remember all the adults running around shouting Emily's name. I remember the police arriving and being slightly scared as they asked me when and where I last saw my friend. I remember Emily's parents sobbing and hugging one another. The last image will stay with me until the day I die. It was nearly dark by the time we left, and I was crying. My father held me close and whispered, "It's fine, darling. She'll be back soon. She's gone on an adventure with the Easter Bunny." I recall my mother snapping something in his ear about giving her false hope, but I chose to believe him. The alternative was too terrifying. My family kept sheltering me from most of what followed, but I pieced it together by looking up old news clippings and TV reports. Now I'm an adult. Emily's disappearance was a national story for a few days, but as the weeks and months went by with nobody found and no new leads, she slipped out of the public's consciousness. Logically, I understood that Easter, and specifically a fictional egg-delivering bunny, had nothing to do with Emily's kidnapping. But the emotional part of my brain couldn't fathom, and the two remaining linked. Despite that bereavement therapy my parents got me, I had nightmares about the Easter Bunny coming for me and my loved ones for years. I even get them now occasionally. I never had or wanted an Easter egg after that. Years went by, and I would say I've moved on to some extent. To some extent, I had to. But at school, I was an oddity, a curiosity, because my connection to a semi-famous tragedy. I found it hard to make friends. Even into adulthood, I never quite trusted that my pals would stay around, that they wouldn't be taken from me at the shortest notice. It made relationships hard, to say the least. I tried to bury myself in academics and later work. I was on my lunch an hour at the office one day when I hear my phone ring. I answered. It was my mother. Always a bit nervous when she rang me at work. Had something happened to a family member? I wanted you to catch I wanted to catch you before the news broke. They found Emily's body at the Manure house. I swallowed, tears sting on my eyes. Oh, that's not all, darling. Well, you know Mr. Anderson died last week? I hadn't heard, but I made a noise in the affirmative. They found her inside the house. When they were clearing out his things, she was in his cellar. And sweetie, I'm sorry I have to tell you this, but it wasn't a little girl's body they found. She only died about a year ago, they suspect. They found her shackled to a wall. The sick bastard had been keeping her there all along. I dropped my phone and burst into long suppressed tears. I'm not scared of rabbits anymore, but I'm more terrified of humans than ever. This story is extremely dark, and well, I mean, at least there's an outcome, but it's no good happy ending. So yeah, if you, whatever things you have to comment, please comment them below. I feel like this is a terrible story. I don't know how people can be this evil. But yeah, so now on a more not positive note, but on a different note. So in this video, I've heard from my previous videos that apparently my audio was very quiet and you had to turn up the volume almost all the way. Please comment below if that's fixed. I've done a bit to fix it. If I need to do more, I can try to look at my editor, but my recording software and my microphone should have increased volume. If it's too loud, please also tell me that. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, share. And this is the King of Reddit signing off. See you next time.